Hi friends, today was a really nice day, so I decided to go take a walk, and on my walk I finished listening to Becoming Abolitionist by Derek Purnell, and it was read by Karen Chilton. I needed to correct myself because I lied about that previously. But yeah, I decided to finish listening to it, and it was a really good read. This is actually my first book that I read about abolition. Like, I've listened to like speeches and like read kind of essays and stuff about abolition, but this is the first like actual book that I read, and I think Purnell does a really good job of thoroughly explaining like what abolition means, what it looks like, how people are using it now, and also giving like a lot of historical context for why like abolition is important, and not something that could never happen. One of the things she says at the end of the book, and which I think is like super important, is she talks about how like abolition is kind of like based in dreaming, because if you're not dreaming, you become helpless, and I think that is a really like key part of understanding abolition, because another thing that she points out is that it's like not a one size fits all solution. Like, abolition is going to look different for different communities and different people, that while there are some like baseline things that everybody can have, it won't all look the same. And so continuing to dream and to be creative about different solutions, I think is really important. And I think it was a really good read. Like, if you're at all a person, honestly, even if you're a person who don't believe in abolition, I think you should read it, because I do think that it's important for our futures, if we want to survive in this capitalist hellscape. Because frankly, I don't think we really can if we keep going the way we're going, and it's not really looking good for us. But yeah, I think it's something that I would recommend to everybody. At the end, she talks about like the 5 things that she wants to, she would include for every community. And her things were a health clinic, 24-hour childcare, a art, remediation, and counseling center, community like councils, like not just like a city council where people like, rich people who have time get to like handle the community, but like things actually for communities and neighborhoods. I can't remember what the 5th thing is, and I don't have the book on me, but I think those are all like really ideals, and really good baselines of things to have. And yeah, I think it's just like a book that I think everybody should read. Like, abolition is really important, and it does, I think, sometimes feel really like idealistic, because just because of the way we've lived so long. But in thinking about that, like I said earlier, like dreaming about something is the key to keep it moving forward. And it brings me to a video I saw the other day by is his name Deontay Kyle? He's the guy who has the Grits and Eggs podcast. I've never watched a podcast, but every clip I've ever seen has been like 10 no notes. And that is sometimes funny to say, because a lot of times men have bad podcasts, but his, at least the clips so far, have been really good. But one of the things he was talking about is how like people walk into things, specifically black people. Most of I think his audience is black people, and he's black himself, so he's talking to black people. But he talked about how like black people often will walk into situations with just like just a negative mindset and just being pessimistic about like things not changing, and like, and I think that is one thing that like I said at the beginning, she talked about dreaming leading to helplessness, and I think that's a really good point. I think oftentimes when you don't see things happening, or you see how bad they've been and you don't see change happening rapidly, you kind of start to accept that things will be bad. And I think the thing that both Mr. Grits and Eggs and Derek Purnell would agree on is that you have to dream, you have to hope, you have to try things to make the world a better place, to make the world look like a world you want it, like a world you want to live in, a world you want your kids to live in, a world you want your family to live in. And yeah, that is, yeah, so the book I think made me really hopeful. Like I was already hopeful, and I just love the like ideas that come out of it and just things that other communities and peoples have tried. Even like, and she didn't even just talk about it from like an American standpoint, like she talked about it internationally and like work she did in like South Africa or people she worked with in South Africa. And so like this is a thing for everybody. Like this is not just, abolition is not just for people in the US, it's for everybody. And I love that approach. And yeah, I think that this is absolutely a book that everybody should read. I probably I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. If not 5 stars, 4.5. I do think it's a little dense in the sense that like, not dense like it's boring, but dense like it's a lot of information, and she's both covering the information from her personal perspective as well as from a historical perspective, and I think she does a really good job of weaving those two things together. But it's still a lot of information, and you're just, and to some point you kind of be like, dang, all of this is still happening. So that will be my only like critique, I guess. But I think to some extent, like, it's still 5 to me, because that's something you need, especially as a person who like, you might not believe in abolition or not even understand like why it's necessary or why people even believe in it, or even where, like, understanding the history perspective of like where we come from. You need that context and conversation. So I'll probably give it 5 stars, not gonna lie, I'll probably give it 5 stars. And I think you guys should read it too, and if you have read it, please let me know what you thought.